Welcome back to the Art of MMA on the Kick and Post YouTube channel and podcast. I am your host, Jamal Thompson, and I am here with
Roger.
yes. UFC 325 was a success. Now we're hopping into the first fight night on Paramount. No numbers, no titles, but a lot of prospects still. A lot of guys that you're familiar with the name. A lot of people looking to, get back on track. People with losses on the record trying to get back in the win column. Guys hoping to fight their way into the rankings. Still some good scraps on here. What says you, Mr. Roger?
Looking forward to some good ones. This one's going to be one that's going to have people trying to rebound their careers. It's going to have people trying to move up in the rankings. This is not a heavy one for um, people vying for title shots. Your main event is probably not even somebody looking for a title shot. The only one that might be is Kyoji Horiguchi.
Mm-hmm.
He's already called for a title shot. We'll see if Jonathan Van obliges, but I think they've got Manel Kape ahead of him. So this is one where him and Albazi will go at it, and we'll talk about that one in a little bit. But that's the only one that you could say that somebody in that fight is vying for a title shot. So this is going to have a lot of people who are obviously in pursuit of a title, but this fight card is not going to have anyone who's going to jump onto it unless it's Horiguchi.
Yeah.
Horiguchi, sorry.
Yeah. Um, I think in other circumstances, Mario Bautista will be pretty close. But I think he is one more fight unless he does something electrifying
Yeah.
against Vinicius. Outside of that, it's people try to right the ship. We got Claudia Segula versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Both women looking to get a win after either one loss or a couple losses in the UFC. Against quality opponents, but if you're opening up the fight night, as one of these women fighters, I do think activity, pressure, uh, potentially aiming for a finish would do good for your prospects on keeping your spot in the UFC, especially Claudia, whose one showing has been a loss, right?
Yeah. Segula, the one showing has lost. And Kochira has 3 losses, but she can
Yeah,
scrap.
yeah,
I've seen her fight and she can scrap, but they haven't went her way. But
no, and it happens like that sometimes.
yeah.
Just the matchup isn't really what works out best for you. You go up against talent that's just a little bit better. I was a viewer of that Edwards fight, and
hmm
I think Jocelyn Edwards does have something special for the women's
Yeah.
bantamweight
Yeah,
division.
she does.
She's one of the ones I've been eyeing in terms of could make some noise with her striking. I just need to see her a little bit more in the grappling, to see if she's a little bit more well rounded. But outside of running into that Jocelyn Edwards, she'll be in there and she'll kind of stand and bang with a lot of that division. Um, I don't really have a pick. If you force me to pick, I'm gonna go with the young gun Claudia to come in and try to right the ship. Probably by unanimous decision, because again, Priscilla will be there to stand and fight with you.
hmm
She won't really dictate where the fight goes. She'll kind of just ride out whatever is decided
Yeah.
by the more athletic fighter on the other side usually. So yeah, if I'm forced to pick that one, I'm going Claudia Segula by decision.
Okay. And I'm kind of the same way. I don't know who's going to win this fight. I haven't seen enough of Claudia to know if she's going to be somebody good. I do know the other girl can scrap, Priscilla, and so I'll go with her and say she ekes out her first UFC win. It's really not an educated guess because I really don't know much about Claudia, but I'm gonna go with Priscilla because I know that she'll go in there and she'll scrap. So
I'm looking at that 10-year difference too. That's important.
it
um,
is.
uh,
But maybe she wants to
and
win to go out on top or
I
to
mean, I'd love
have a
that for
last
her for
ride.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that for her for sure. I'm not saying it's impossible. Um, it just strikes me as like, like
Mhm.
both people are in different spots in their careers. Alex Morano and Daniil Doncheko. Uh, Personally, based on both these fighters' resumes, that's kind of a similar situation to the last one.
Yeah.
Almost a 10-year, well, an 11-year gap this time. And Morano is on a bit of a bad run.
Hmm.
Got KO'd in the first round against Lille.
Yeah.
Lost to Daniel Rodriguez. Lost to Nico Price. And if you're losing to Nico Price, it's kind of the kiss of death right now. No offense to fighters who lose to Nico Price. And then Doncheko is a young gun on a 5-fight winning streak. Uh, this is his second UFC fight.
Yeah. Coming out of the Ukraine.
Yeah, I'll lean with Doncheko on this one. I feel like I'm taking a lot of the young guys and just riding, but I think
Yeah.
Alex Moreno is usually durable.
He
Um,
is very.
Usually, uh, I think the first round KO is the beginning of the end. I
First
think,
round.
yeah. No, I'm saying like the first round KO last fight
Oh,
is the
last
beginning
fight.
of the
Okay.
end for him. I
Moreno.
think going against somebody a little bit more, explosive than he is at this stage in his career, is used to being very active with the hands, over 8 significant strikes averaged per minute. That is a good run. Um, Decent takedown defense too from that person. 33% takedown accuracy. Mm, like I don't think Morano, unless he's kind of like that Krylov situation we had a week ago, unless he's able to survive the early blitz, and then you're kind of leaning on your what you've acquired skill wise while being in the UFC, you know, how to fight down the stretch, how to fight smart down the stretch. You could really take advantage of a younger fighter who, might not be as sure of himself as only having his second fight in the UFC.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not going to ride with that though. I think this person's a better striker than Modestas Pakauskas. So I think he will be more active. He'll put more strikes on Morano, and I think he'll eventually get the finish. I
Okay.
got I got Daniil by finish.
I'm actually going to agree with you. I like Morano, just because he's so surprising to me. I like guys who don't look like they can do very much, and then they go in and they just surprise you.
Yep.
And I feel like Morano is one of those people. You look like he's just going to get run over, and even in the first round when they're coming in on him, he looks like he's getting run over, but he just kind of stays in the fight. Um, but I do think Daniil is going um, to win this fight. I think the young guy pulls it out. Um, I'm going to go with a decision on this one, but I could very easily see a submission or a KO. But I would lean less likely a KO, more likely a submission, and even more likely a decision.
Yeah.
That would be kind of the tier I would go with in this fight. Um,
But Daniil leaves the fight with a win.
yeah, yeah, I think so.
I understand that. I don't see the next one going to decision. I do not. Um, Nico Price,
Nico Price.
Nikolai Veretennikov.
Yeah.
Now, upon discussion off camera, I realized that
Yes.
we have seen Nikolai Veretennikov
Hmm.
get in there and scrap very recently against up and coming talent.
Yeah.
Um, I think I remember talking about the Prado fight.
Hmm.
Um, with Prado's inexperience and inability to fight a smarter fight, he had opportunities where he was winning the fight and just overexerted either in one practice, like if he was striking and having success there, he'd stay a little bit too engaged and not really back and get defensive, and usually get caught with something or blow his gas tank and end up getting, things would shift in very Tennikov's favor in that way. Um, I still think it was a pretty uh I don't want to say unfair outcome. You could have had it either way.
Yeah.
I think Prado had success enough. for it
Mhm.
to go his direction. From what I remember, I don't think it was a split decision, which is what my yeah, it was a split decision. Yeah. So when it's a split decision, like it's kind of take your preference at that point.
Yeah.
Um, but the things I saw from Veritenikov weren't like world beater talents. I think he was just living off of experience.
Mhm.
And fighting a smarter fight. Now, Nico Price is not necessarily known for fighting a smarter fight, especially as of
Yeah.
recently. Yeah. Um, I do think though there's still some creativity in his striking.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think he still could, I'm I think what Veritenikov presents is very vanilla. He's gonna walk forward. He's gonna keep decent pressure. He's gonna counter at times. Um, he's not like an elite ground guy from what I've visually seen. He's just durable and kind of like even in a lot
Mhm.
of the practices. I still think there's a little bit of juice there for Nico against the right opponent. This might be the right opponent.
It might be.
It might be. I'm hesitant to say because of the last few fights I've seen Nico fight.
Yeah.
He's had moments, especially in the last one. Um, he made it to round two, and it looked decent. For a little bit of round one. And then he got submitted. I my pick on this one is mm, mm, give me Nico by finish. Give me Nico by finish. Give me Nico to hit him with something very powerful. Give me Nico to just try to walk through him. And I'm not
Okay.
saying it's the smart decision. I was a guy who took Dan Hooker last week, and it was because of my heart. Um, and a little
Is
bit of this one's more of a mix. I won't
okay.
say it's completely a heart pick.
Okay.
I have less confidence in Veritenikov to be a world beater
Right.
than
Yeah.
the guys that Nico has fought recently. I think Garimba is still a good fighter. I
Yeah.
think Jacoby Smith is a wonderful talent. And, the guys that Nico has ran into recently that have beat him are guys that I think are better than Veritenikov. Phil Rowe, Robbie Lawler, like
Yeah.
I'd put all those guys above Veritenikov at this current stage.
Mhm.
Um, I think this is the level break. This is right at the tier break of like guys that will walk through Nico and guys that can make it a good fight with Nico.
Right.
And if you give Nico an opportunity, I think Nico could still do something for me. And I'm blinded a little bit. Don't check my card collection. I might have a signed Nico card in there. But I think he still has enough juice to get the job done. What says you?
And, we discovered this as well, Veritenikov, we were calling Nico Price the pretty much, the older guy who we were calling for his retirement last time just because he's on the older side. Veritenikov is the same age. It seems like Veritenikov is younger because his career is younger. He hasn't been around as long as Nico has. So that can serve two ways when you have somebody who has all that experience, but they've also been through all those wars, for someone who is younger in their career, doesn't have the experience, but also hasn't had that long term damage um, at fighting at that level. Not saying he hasn't had a bunch of fights, but it's not at that same level. So um, I think Garimbo is a good fighter. I think he ran up against somebody just so much younger and so much faster than him in the last one, and Jacoby Smith, who I'm obviously very excited about. Um, but Nico and Veritenikov, the only thing that gives me pause, if this was a fight where they both had fight camps going into it, I would still think this was more of a toss up. But this fight went through a bunch of different variations before it landed on these two to fight. And so, where is Veritenikov coming in? Was he ready to fight? And then Nico stepped in this week. So he's getting this on like a 4 or 5 day notice. And where is his cardio? If his cardio is there, I think this is a long night for Nikolai Veretinikov. If Nico Price is not in shape, I think he goes the other way. I think it's which one of these guys kept themselves in better shape, not having the fight lined up or jumping in on short notice. So whoever's got that ability in that cardio to stay with it longer, I think this will be a war of attrition. I think Veretinnikov is skilled enough to win the fight, but I think Nico Price is skilled enough and he's got the creativity. So, but I saw in his last fight where he wasn't really um, as conditioned as he should be. And so that's what gives me worry.
Unfortunately, I think this will be a lot of the same. I think gas tank is going to get used first round to round and a half. If he
Hmm.
doesn't get that finish in that round to round and a half window, um, I think Nikolai just does what he needs to do to point out a decision and might even be able to finish Nico,
Hmm.
once Nico's gassed, right?
Yeah.
Land something strong, probably gonna drop him. And when you're extremely tired, it's harder to get up. I could see Nico making that mistake if he's not conditioned, which coming in on that quick of
Yeah.
notice, unless he's been like just fighting, waiting for a call from someone, preparing, waiting for a call from someone, he might not be
Yeah.
completely in shape. So
And hopefully he has been. Hopefully he's been
yeah,
been staying in shape and but you know, we're gonna find out this Saturday for real whether he is.
we are.
Um
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Nico Price to pull the upset. And that's all heart, I can tell you, because everything else with him coming in so short notice and the performance in his last fight, but Veretinnikov is not Jacoby Smith. And so I feel like Nico Price gets back on the winning side of it. Um, Love watching him fight. So from that perspective, I really hope that he wins this. So I'm going more with who I want to win in this one because you don't know on Vinikov's side either. Um, you don't know if he's ready to fight because he took this on a somewhat short notice too, but it was against a different opponent.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, you know, I'm gonna go with both of them. Could be a bit out of shape. It's going to be a sloppy fight, I think, and I think in a sloppy fight, Price has a huge advantage. So I'm gonna go with Price.
yeah. I think if he wins, though, he should put the gloves down. No, I'm joking. He's gonna want one better name on there, and that's just gonna get tricky for Nico. He's gonna try
I
to chase that
mean,
one better name, and
it's
I don't
going to
think
get
we
him in
could get
trouble.
there. Yeah, I don't think we could get there.
Well, he's got a lot of kids too, doesn't he? He's a busy
I
man,
think
right?
so.
Isn't
I
he?
think I think he's a pop up of you.
Yeah, I think he's kind of Philip River in it.
You think he's Philip River in it? He's
Yeah,
at that
I think
level? I didn't
I
know.
don't know that he's at that level, but I feel like he is, and I don't know where I heard that at.
6 and
6
expecting a
kids,
7.
okay,
He was expecting a 7th in 2024, so he's
okay.
probably at 7 now. Yeah, a minute ago, Nico Price has no retirement plans with wife pregnant. Oh wait, is she pregnant again? Get off her, Nico. Jesus. No, this is a year ago. Okay, this is a year ago. So yeah, they're at 7.
Okay.
They're at 7. So yeah, he is pushing the Philip Rivers run. Um, man. Um, I'm not trying to skip over the women's fight. I'm really not. But I don't have much of an opinion on the Souza fight either. I'll allow you to take the lead on that one for sure. If you're begging me to pick, like I was getting begged to pick in the last one, um, I'm gonna go Bruna Brazil over Caitlin Souza. Little bit of a reach advantage.
Mhm.
Decent takedown average. It could get there. 65% pretty much takedown accuracy. Give me Bruna Brazil by submission.
Yeah, Imma go with Bruna as well. I've seen her fight before, and I've got, confidence that she's actually gonna be, winning this and then maybe going to be ranked soon. So, Imma go with her as well.
I like
Um,
it.
yeah.
This next one though, fun one. Saeed Nurmagomedov versus Javid Basharat. Saeed,
Mhm.
carrying that Nurmagomedov last name, has been on a bit of a slide recently. People have gone off the Saeed wagon
Yeah.
uh, based on the losses, which he has not looked great in a couple of those. And then Javid Basharat is also coming off a couple losses to some, ranked now. wasn't necessarily ranked at the time. Zahabi is currently ranked in the top 10. Is Ricky Simon? I think he's top 15 now.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
If
he lost
not,
his
he's
last one though,
still
didn't
like a
he?
top 20 talent. Yeah. Um.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think he's definitely top 20 talent.
Yeah. Um. Both guys wrestle.
Mhm.
I would not be crazy in saying though that I prefer the striking from Javid Basharat and how it looks coming back. It
Really?
looks a little bit more natural to me. To me. In the fights I've seen Javid Basharat, I think his striking looks a little bit more natural than Saeed's. Um, Saeed's just looks very I don't know, like trained. If you get what I'm saying, it doesn't look
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Not saying that it's bad necessarily. It just looks almost telegraphed. Saeed needs a win really badly. He can't keep sliding.
Yeah. I think they both do in this one.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think when both guys are gonna be decent wrestlers, Saeed gets a little bit better of a rep of wrestling because of his last name. Uh, but he's not like that level wrestler, but he's still decent at the
yeah.
practice. Um, I'm getting called to the Javid Basharat side
Okay.
in this one. I think that I think it's actually by knockout or like TKO. I think when both guys
Really?
wrestle, yeah, I think they stay on the feet, and I think Javid Basharat could get the job done on the feet. If not, he'll win by a decision, um,
Yeah.
based on more activity and maybe a couple knockdowns. What's his view?
Well, so I'm gonna go the opposite way. I've seen Saeed fight on many occasions, and if you look at his last few fights, um, he beat Gaforov. He lost to Vinicius Oliveira, who was in the main event of that, and is just an absolute animal. And then he lost to Bryce Mitchell, and we know Bryce Mitchell has good grappling. Now, Nurmagomedov, while he carries the name, he is not related. But a lot of people will give him, you know, they'll say, "Oh, he's under Nurmagomedov. He's from Russia," but he's not related. But he does still have good wrestling, and he does still have decent striking. And um, I think he's going to pull this one out. I don't think um, Basharat's gonna be able to handle Saeed. I think he's more aggressive and has a little more push on the finishes.
Okay,
Um, he's really though the with his fighting career, I think one of the things that has been tough for him is he's kind of doesn't necessarily seem to have the strength to get through some of the other guys for whatever reason. Maybe it's just using his strength effectively or what. But I think that's presented problems with Vinicius. His punches are not like going to be the one punch knockout. He's got some knockouts on his resume, but they're not going to be the one punch knockout. His grappling, I think, is tight enough that I think he's going to be able to bring this. I'm gonna take Saeed by submission, second
okay.
round, second round submission.
You think they'll get into a wrestling exchange? They'll be able to take care of it.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Okay. He needs it, man. He needs it. I feel like Javid could survive a loss to Nurmagomedov in terms of
I
like
think Javid
direction.
has like 3 losses, doesn't he?
Two.
2?
His only two losses were the last two. Yeah, he was
Okay.
undefeated before that. So he
Alright.
gets a little bit of grace coming in at 14-0 and fighting a top 10 guy and a guy who's
Yeah.
still potentially top 20. Um, he could survive one more loss before it gets really crazy for him. If Saeed goes on a what would it be 3-fight losing streak?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, one in his last four. Yep, that's what it would be. One in his last four if
Yeah.
he was to lose that one. The Nurmagomedov name, even though again not related, but nobody cares about that.
Well, yeah,
Nur-
no, people y
people is just they lump him in,
they see the
right?
name. Mhm.
And Dana knows that. So as long as the fight looks competitive and he looks like he's in it,
Mhm.
Um, Winning would be important. Losing would be bad for him, but he'd still get thrown on the bottom end of a card. I think Javid to aspire to go where he's trying to go still needs this win. Um, I
Yeah.
think it'll be a great fight. I'm excited to see it.
I think this is gonna be one of the better fights on the card.
I agree. I agree. Um, should be electric. Wong Kong versus Eduardo Mora. Eduarda Mora. Um, Give me Wong Kong in this one. Give me Wong Kong in this one. I have uh confidence in her activity level. The women Chinese fighters have always seemed to be way better with the hands early in their career than a lot of the other practitioners in their
Mhm.
divisions. And I think she'll be able to keep active throwing punches. She's a little bit older, but
Mhm.
um I like her to potentially just stay active and win this one by decision against Mora. Uh, what says you? Opposite way?
This one to me is a toss up. I wanna go more. She's coming
Yeah.
off a win over, Murphy, which is a
Okay.
good
Okay.
win. I think it was Murphy's last fight. Um, I think she retired after that. And she was in the fight, but for somebody who was in range for a title, a few fights ago,
Hmm.
she got handled by Moore pretty handily, I think. So I'm gonna swing with Moore in this one. A little bit of opposites today from us, but I'm
I
gonna I'm gonna
think
go with I'm gonna go with Moore in this one. But to be fair, and I'll say right out, Wang Kong, don't think I've ever seen her fight.
okay.
So she might be a killer. But based off the records and who they fought, and who they're coming off of, I'm gonna go with Mara.
Nice. I'm just excited to see a good scrap. Hopefully,
Yeah, I think this
there are
this fight card's full of good scraps.
there's three women's fights on here, and this year we haven't gotten a good start to women's MMA.
No, we have
In
not.
terms of like just performances, I think we could
Yeah.
right the ship here, and I
Hmm.
could get on here next week and be super excited about what I saw, and I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
We need good fights in there.
we need good fights, man. We need good women's fights in general in the UFC because again, I want to preface one of my favorite fights of all time is Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Willie Zhang. Still
Hmm.
think that was an amazing fight in terms of skill and durability and excitement. It had everything you wanted in a fight, I feel like,
Yeah.
damage. Like, it was crazy. So
Yeah.
there is potential for women's fights to be elite.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I want to consistently see that. I want to see that in the sport a lot more often. So
Yeah. Right now, I think that there is the gap is closing on top tier talent and lower talent. So you've got in the men's division, people I think have been fighting in the sport professionally on big stages for so long that the lower tier and the top tier have closed some. But your top three or four fighters in the women's division are so far ahead of your bottom ones right now. But it is closing, and I think the more these guys, um, that just the further along we go, the higher the level is going to be. And from being at tournaments, I think women are more aggressive in fights than men are, and I don't know why that is, but I think that when this gets when that talent gap closes, you're going to have super competitive divisions, um, that are going to be some of the best fights you've seen. Just the aggression is going to be there, the technique is going to be there. Everything that you want will be better in a women's fight, I think.
we just got to
And
develop it a little bit more, huh?
yeah, I think that the talent tier. I mean, when Ronda Rousey came in, she was an Olympian, and nobody else could match that. And then you got a couple people that could, and they took her out. You got
Yeah.
a professional boxer come in there. You got Amanda Nunes come in there, but still, she could throw around anybody that was five or under,
Yeah.
right? Um, and then nobody who was ranked under five was going to compete with Nunes at that time,
Hmm.
for the most part. So when that gap of 5 to 15 gets almost as good as your top 5, then you're gonna have
Then
super
you
good
got
fights.
problems for the
Yeah, because
top. Yeah.
yeah, you can go through welterweight and see even at that where the top 5 is so good and there's so many really good people, that 10 through 15 would be a tough out for any of those fighters. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, you're probably gonna see a few one-sided fights, but generally, like, it's gonna be a tough fight. But I don't think that's the case with the women's fighters. There's such a gap, and as that closes, you're be prepared to be impressed with the women's divisions if you like quality fights, if you like technique, if you like aggression, if you like speed, they're gonna have it. So
I'm excited. Hopefully, this is the year we start seeing a shrinkage in that gap. Not necessarily
yeah,
the gap closed completely, but um,
right.
we talked about some up and comers on the pod. Can't wait to talk about them on YouTube a little bit more, so you guys can kind of get the engagement
Hmm.
across all platforms. But we talked about Jocelyn Edwards at
Yeah.
nauseum, I feel like last year, and then
Hmm.
there's a fighter that I don't think debuted, but she's from Louisiana and she fought on the Dustin Poirier card and she got a pretty good finish via like knee to the body that I'm excited for. Um, while we talk about Muin Gaffaraz and Jacob Wiklaz, the pronunciations feel wrong.
Jakob.
Um, Jakob, I'm gonna look for her, but you were very excited to say Jakob. Please remind me why
Yes. Okay.
he's high on the list for you.
So, um, well, first he's fighting a quality opponent this time, which he was last time. Um, he is a Polish fighter.
Yeah.
He was a champion at one of the European, I think European leagues, but it was overseas. Um, very tough, uh, strong guy, um, quick, agile, and they put him up against Patchy Mix. I mean, this guy has a good record,
Yep.
sitting at 17-3. So he came in at 16-3 as a champion in another division. They brought him in against Patchy Mix, who had all this hype around him, and this was supposed to be the easy fight for Patchy Mix. And Wicklaws just beat him, and it was sound. It wasn't very close. Patchy Mix
Mm-hmm.
is now out of the UFC, um,
Ryzen.
and Jacob Wicklex is in the UFC where he belongs, and I think that showed, like, he is where he belongs. So I feel like he's got a lot of talent in this one. He
Mm-hmm.
can hang with them. Will he be a top 10 prospect, a top 10 fighter during his career? I think it's possible. It's not written in stone. I'm not going to say he's going to come in here like some fighters. I would say Jacoby Smith. I think if he sticks with it, I think you'll see him top 10, top 5 easily. Um, I don't feel like Jakob Wicklas is necessarily in that realm, but he's going to be a successful fighter. He's going to be a good fighter. I'd like to see him get there, just because it's a good story. He comes in against somebody who was a champion, 2 champions from other divisions, and he comes in and he surprises everybody. This was a fight Patchy Mix was supposed to get back on track with, and he ruined that party for him. And
Yeah, he
and
did.
he did it with skill. And sometimes you see these guys just come in and they just hang right with the guys from the UFC. And this was one of those cases. He's here. He's supposed to be here. Um, he's already got his career off to a great start in the UFC. So I think that he wins this fight and keeps it going. I think that excitement propels him, even though it's going to be against a tough opponent. Um, I still think he's going to pull this one out.
Hmm. I agree. I think you don't go in there against somebody of Patchy Mix's caliber because I mean, UFC didn't work out for him. UFC is not for everyone, but Patchy Mix is a good fighter with a lot of
He is.
experience who, beats probably the top 5% of people in that weight class around the world, but
Hmm.
the top 5% is in the UFC and he can't he can't really he doesn't have enough of the I don't want to say tools, but maybe it's pop, maybe it's fight IQ, maybe it's you know necessary skill set, like combination of skill sets to get that win against that top 5%. Um, I think he builds on that win. I think with a significant reach advantage, um, and accuracy on those strikes, he'll be able to present problems for Muin Gafaros. Uh, Decent height advantage too. Um, One thing I'm going to be watching for a little bit closely in this one is Patchy Mix is a very inactive guy in there. For his
Mhm.
build, you'd think that he'd be very forward pressure and lots of punches. He kind of stands there and waits to see where the fight goes. I don't know if Gafarov is the same. I'm not gonna lie. Gafarov, I've not watched closely.
Mhm.
Um, if he's able to put front foot pressure on Jakob, it'll be a lot different of a fight than he fought last. I want to see how those adjustments are made. But I'm riding with Jakob, and I'm excited to watch the fight in general. Um, and see what I can learn from these guys. Card starts at 4. I love that. Um, yeah. It's more of a watch and see for me, but I am riding with Jakob. And I think if what I saw against that Patchy Mix in against Patchy Mix is true, I think he could win this by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if he, catches him with something and then
Mhm.
goes in for the finish.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, Jakob is my pick for sure. Alrighty, ready. We are on to the other Basharat brother. No, we're on to Julius Walker versus Dustin Jacoby.
Yeah.
Light heavyweights.
Mhm.
Still a division that could use some juice, but it's not bad, right?
Correct.
There's some
Yeah.
fun guys in there. We got our Khalil Rountrees, we got our Yuri Prohaskas, we got our Jamal Hills. No matter what you think about him, obviously Alex is still the top of that division. Um, these guys, these prospects, are still trying to build a little bit of a name in that division. What says you? How do you see this one going? Outside Dustin Jacoby, Dustin Jacoby's been around a bit, but Julius
Yeah.
Walker mainly. Again, almost a 10-year gap again. This feels like the sacrifice of the elder statesman. I feel like in this fight card, but yeah. What says you?
So I could see a Jacoby knockout early just because he is a top tier kickboxer. Julius Walker, the jury's still out on him for me. Um, Great prospects, great record. He's 7-1. Um, I'd see him winning by going to decision. But let me say this about him. I think close to 60% of his fights have ended in him winning it by TKO or knockout. And so this could be a barn burner because if they decide that they're going to throw and you've got two people who can knock you out
They
and they're
connect, yeah,
actually going to throw with each other, they're not going to sit
yeah,
back and wait. This
yeah.
could be a great fight if they both decide they're going to play the defense game, a la Lewis and Ganu, staying away from each other's power. This could be a very boring fight, and in that case, I take Julius Walker by decision. But I think on their feet, given Jacoby's and Julius's age gap that they're going to have, and um, I'm going to give the slight advantage to Julius. But do not be surprised if Jacoby comes out there with a knockout.
Julius is 1-1 in his UFC
Mhm.
fights. Split decision, unanimous decision. Um, I think he understands what the light heavyweight division means to the UFC and what they're looking for in those fights. I think he understands that he can't keep pointing out decisions and end up where he needs to go. So I think he's going to stand in there and bang. They give him somebody who's 11 years older than him,
Mhm.
um, to go in there and scrap because he should have the speed advantage and he should
Yeah.
be able to kind of, let the hands go and be able to get out of the way of danger before it's, bad for him. Dustin Jacoby again is not a slouch,
No.
21 9-1, but has fought some really good opponents in there. Dominic Reyes knocked him out, Menfield unanimous decision, and then he won his last two via knockout. Um, so he could be a problem. There's you got to stay away from that power. I do think Julius Walker kind of engages.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know who lands, but I think this goes under 1.5 rounds.
I could see it. Yeah.
But if you're telling me to take one,
Yeah.
mm,
All these fights are gonna be close and, well,
yeah,
they seem to be close on
they
paper.
seem to be close on
Mhm.
paper, but mm, I just
It's who
it's either you're
lands,
getting
man.
it's if it's you're getting fraud checked, or are you finally going to realize some of that potential, and take a little bit of that juice that Dustin Jacoby's been building up with those back-to-back knockouts.
Mhm.
I'm going to lean with Julius Walker does take a little bit of that juice. They get in an exchange. He's quicker to the punch, and he lands. And he gets his first finish in the UFC at the Apex, and they build off of that
And
for him.
everybody can hear the shot that lands because it's the apex.
Yeah, everybody will hear it. And
I
if Paramount is smart, they will juice those mics. Even though they're starting to sell Apex tickets now, so that
Juice the
that
mics, I
sucks.
like that.
Yeah,
Um,
make it where you get everything, like
yeah,
even his, breath. I should be able to hear his pulse in the mic.
they
Like,
they say, one of the biggest difference between a headliner in music and the guy opening is the PA system. Just, because they're just gonna if the headliner's gonna be pumped up, the opener maybe not quite so much. The sound people aren't giving them as much attention, yada yada yada.
yeah,
That would be a good idea for the UFC so that they can play it back on all that stuff. And I'm sure they probably already do that. That's probably not just a good idea. It's probably what they do. I would say though, um, small point of disagreement here. If Jacoby knocks out Julius, I would not put it in the fraud check category. Um, I think Jacoby is well within his wheelhouse to knock a lot of people out if he lands. So I'd say, it's a disappointment for Julius Walker, but I wouldn't take anything away from him
from
necessarily.
Julius Walker.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Dustin Jacoby is a legit kickboxer. So I think I wouldn't say that now. If he gets submitted or if he get, but that okay, yeah. um,
it's more of like a talent thing, is what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like this guy you said has 60% finishes. Julius Walker, right?
Hmm.
That's what brought him over to the UFC. In his first two fights, it's been a unanimous decision and a split decision. One loss, one win, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're not bringing him over for decision wins.
No, you're not.
So if he
Yeah.
if he comes in and gets KO'd by somebody, no matter who it was, they're gonna have him on the back burner a little bit because they brought him over for finishes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm reading at least. So in terms of fraud check, not necessarily like he's not a talented guy. Speaking about Jacoby,
Yeah.
just that what they're expecting out of the guy they just brought over might not be it yet, and now
Gotcha.
he has to go back to fighting certain guys to hopefully build that back up, or if they keep him around.
Yeah.
The UFC isn't the most
Because
patient,
then he would
so
be 1-2. So
yeah,
now
yeah.
split decision against Manfield. Manfield beat Dustin Jacoby by a decision. So you know, I
Hmm.
think it'll be a good fight.
I think it'll be a good fight. I think the Basharat Gene Matsumoto fight will be a good fight as well. Undefeated Basharat against one loss Gene Matsumoto.
Hmm.
Uh, I like the fact that both these guys are aspiring to go to the same place. It's not a big age gap like a lot of the other ones have been.
Yeah, this one's going to be a good one.
Um, yeah, I think both guys stay active in the significant strikes. For their weight, it's a little bit low, but um, they throw punches at least. Predominant, they try to take their guys down on the mat. I think this is a very well balanced fight that they created. I think um, both guys have, I don't want to say clear advantages, but both guys have very similar fight styles. Um, mm, I think they stand and bang though, because I think they're going to trust each other in terms of they're gonna respect each other's takedown ability. I think they're gonna stay away from that a decent amount, and I think they're gonna stand in there and fight. Um, I think Fareed continues his win streak. I think, you know, I think he wins the exchanges. I think this goes to decision and Fareed wins. Um, I could see him accumulating more damage on the other guy. I don't see much takedowns, but if it does go there, you know, I don't think he's gonna be just. I don't think Gene Matsumoto is gonna shoot and take him down, and that's the end of it. I feel like there'll be a lot of grappling exchanges. I'm not sure how much of it will result in the control aspect of for either fighter.
Hmm.
Um, I just believe that when it comes to the hands and activity, Freed will be able to be a little bit more. Um, he'll win those exchanges more than Gene will.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um, I think this fight is a fight that is going to be the deciding factor on who is going to be the next one into the top 15. Um, this was the fight. Matsumoto was the fighter I used as an example to say, be careful listening to the commentary
Mm-hmm.
because the commentary can mislead you in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now the judges agreed with the commentary, whatever, but I thought uh,
I like the whatever.
I thought John's fighting Matsumoto should have at least been a split decision, if not a
Yeah.
draw. And they gave it to Matsumoto, and that's what happens in close fights. But to hear the commentary talk, Matsumoto was killing him and doing this. They said Matsumoto, yeah, he looks like he's getting beat now, but this is what he does. He just wears on his opponent, and he just doesn't go away. He was getting beat up, I thought, for the first at least round and a half, if not two
He
rounds.
wasn't
And
going away,
so
but it's
he
because he was getting punched.
he did win that third round, but I didn't think he did enough to win that. The judges disagreed with me, and the commentary definitely disagreed with me. But I think watching that fight, um, it
He was
was
losing.
not a one-sided fight like the
No.
commentators were expecting it to be. Um, from that aspect there, and seeing him fight Johns, who I think is a um, not on the same level as Basharat. I think that they're overinflating Matsumoto in this fight, and I think Basharat's going to come out with a big win in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say he takes it and does it by submission. I think he
Okay.
submits him.
You think he wraps him up?
I think he does. I think he takes him down. I don't think Matsumoto is as good as they have inflated him to be. And I think Basharat is legit. I think
I'm
he's the
excited to
better
see
of the
it.
two brothers. And I think um, he's the reason the other Basharat is in the UFC, probably,
UFC. Yeah.
at least this long. So,
Yeah.
um, so I think Basharat takes this one submission.
Okay. I could get down with that. I could get there. I think it'll just be a good fight in general. So
It is.
that I
This
am
one this
excited
one is
for.
gonna be a good one. Even though I say that Matsumoto, I think they've overinflated, he is still a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. So,
Yes.
and he is gonna stay there. Like, he's not
Mm-hmm.
he it the reason I think he's gonna lose this is he'll give away the first 2 rounds, which we talked about on the last podcast. Sometimes it catches up with you. This fight for him, I think, is where this catches up with him. He
Yeah.
cannot give away that first round in a 3-round fight against Basharat. And if he
He's got
gives
to
it
get it.
around and Basharat catches him, which I think is more than likely, um, when you're fighting that style. I got Basharat by submission. Yeah. Mm, mhm. The Dagestani pirate.
But I think Michael Olashishik fights a little bit of a smarter fight than the Pirate.
Mhm.
Um, I think the Pirate still is living off of, just ferocity and,
Yeah.
not necessarily technique all the way. He is a technical fighter. I mean, most UFC guys are, but some guys in brawl, and
Mhm.
the Pirate brawls a little bit. Um, I think if Olajeszek fights a calculated fight, utilizes the ground game quite a bit. You know, maybe saps a little bit of that energy, gets Barry Alt on the bottom, beats him up a little bit. I could see Michael Olajeszek winning this, um, potentially by decision.
Hmm.
But if he's more calculated in the striking, he can drop him as well. Um, but yeah, I give Olajeszek the advantage, especially on the ground. And he is skilled enough in the stand up game for it to be a problem for Barry Alt. So I'm riding with Olajeszek to win this fight. Okay.
Pull this one out, I think, because
Yes.
of fight IQ. Um, Overall, that's my angle on this. I think his fight IQ is higher in this one. However, if I'm gonna dabble, as you say, in this, and there's any way I can pick a first round knockout for anybody, I'm gonna pick that. This is gonna be a fight where I think the hands prevail.
And they don't
I
go to the
just
second round?
Yeah, I think that's the most likely outcome of this fight. If it goes anywhere else besides a I mean, really first round and a half, I guess, but if I'm being honest, but first round knockout, if it goes past that, I'm riding with Michael Obe. I think the first round is up for grabs. And if Marcus comes out there and throws and lands, oh, he
Yeah.
can, both these guys can knock out their person. So, um, in the first round, I think it's a toss up. I would take a KO in the first round, not giving advice, but I think that's where this fight more than likely happens. But if it goes past that, Michael O with the win.
They're not offering it yet, but yeah. Olajeszek is a minus 350 odds to
Hmm.
win this. So they believe in Michael a lot. Um yeah. We'll have to wait till closer to the day to see, you know, if they offer
Yeah.
that. But they usually offer we'll fight enter the second round at odds, and then I would expect it to be, decent odds, but it's not going to be crazy seeing that they have the
Yeah.
win gap that large.
But I think
Um
that's Barry Alt's best shot to win this is the first round and a
First
half.
round, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He has a puncher's chance is what I'm hearing.
He's definitely got a punch. He's got, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he's skilled. He's skilled in that area. I mean, he's a durable fighter, so I could see it going. The whole thing. I mean, he can be knocked out. You know, people have knocked him out.
Yeah.
Anybody can be knocked out unless you're a scouser. But you know, he's shown that he can go the whole fight. But with these guys' KO records, the first round, which probably means they'll stay away from each other the first round and it'll go unanimous
Yes.
decision.
Yes.
So we're gonna go with Michael O in that because I think they
Michael
stay away
O.
from each other's power in the first round
Um
if they're
a,
smart.
a guy who I think should go out there and be a little bit more active this fight is Jailton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev.
You think Kuniev should be more active? Man.
Kuniev is actually fairly active in there as a heavyweight, a legit heavyweight. Um, but no, our friend of the show, Jailton Almeida, is back after getting robbed against Alexander Volkov, which we could both agree he got robbed against Alexander Volkov. To right some wrongs against Rizvan Kuniev. Now, Rizvan
Hmm.
Kuniev, I think the last time I saw him, he was taking out, who's that fun fighter, fun heavyweight?
Oh man, the one with all the aspirations of a title shot, Curtis Blades.
Oh, it's Curtis Blades. Oh, I was even wrong in that one, but yes, he beat Curtis Blades in a split decision. I thought he was
Split
the one that got
decision, Curtis Blades.
Yeah, that's a big person to go to split decision with.
It it is. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit of talent, but Jailton Almeida has the clear speed advantage in this one. Jailton Almeida uh does not have the significant strike advantage in this one, which you look at how these fighters look on the page and you're like, huh?
Hmm.
How? Takedown average though is 6.66 for Jailton Almeida. Um, can he punch? That is my question to Jailton Almeida. Because if Jailton Almeida can punch, he would be inclined to utilize that athleticism, walk around this guy, and punch him a lot, and shift your fight style for this fight for the sake of your UFC career.
Who's that? Almeida?
Yes. If
Yeah.
you lie on top of not Fiziev, but if you lie on top of Kanev the way you did against Volkov, they will rob you again. They will rob you again. As long as Rizvan is able to do something from the bottom or, win an exchange in the second round or something,
Hmm.
that's how I see it working out for you. So you need to be active and you need to actually fight this week against him. That's my suggestion to Jalton. I think Jalton Almeida wins.
Yeah.
I do. I think he'll be active enough to stay away from it. I think he's going to shift the fight style a little bit this week because he has to. Um, and I think he could, win this fight by decision. I don't see it being a finish. I mean, he could blitz him and hit him with some body shots and potentially get him out of there. I've seen him win one by finish before, but um, that's his path to victory. I feel like he needs to go out there and try to get at him as quick as possible and utilize that athletic advantage he has over Kaniev. What says you?
Um, well, I'm looking to see if this was the original fight that was supposed to happen. Um, and the reason I'm looking to see that is okay, it wasn't. Joutton Almeida took this fight. Um, Kanai was scheduled to face Ryan Spann this Saturday. However, Spann withdrew for undisclosed reasons and was replaced by Joutton Almeida.
Yeah.
Almeida's the number 6 heavyweight, and Kanaev is not ranked. So why is
Mm-hmm.
Kanaya fighting Almeida? Why was he fighting Curtis Blades? He probably a similar reason.
Yeah.
But this was not supposed to be Joutton Almeida versus Kanaev. Kanaev is facing an opponent that he signed to fight him, so it's but it's not that Ryan Spann and Joutton Almeida are not the same fighter.
Nope.
So you prepare completely different. Um, Now, Kanaev, just to analyze the fight a little bit, fought a wrestler, grappler in his last one, who has, I think, better takedown than Almeida. And he went to a split decision. Um, Almeida, I hear, actually has good hands. He just doesn't use them.
He does. He got
Um,
Sergey Spivak out of there.
yeah. So he's got good hands. If he uses his hands, I think that's probably, fake the takedown, use the hands, fake the takedown, use the hand. Make a couple of good um, real attempts to take him down or even just take him down a few times. And I think he wins this fight pretty easily, but he's got to incorporate the hands in there. If he just goes for takedowns, I feel like Kanaev might be able to stymie some of those takedowns. And if he can do that and he's more active, then I think he'll come out with a decision. I don't think Almeida's doing himself any favors with his
He's not.
inactivity and just holding them down. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
clear path of victory for both of them. Um, for Kanaev, stay active, keep your takedown defense strong, and you'd have to think he's number one, like we talked about with the last people. Um, Eagle FC is who he was fighting for.
Yeah.
He is, I believe, out of Dagestan, but he's out of Dagestan, Russia. Um, I'm not sure how to say the name of that city, Mahaklala. But he's out of the same place that Khabib and all of them come from. Um, the way they train over there, in a general sense, um, he's going to be in shape for it. Joutton Almeida is always in shape. These are not the same heavyweights that we talked about on the last podcast not being in shape. Both of these guys are going to be in shape. I want to see it. I love to see it. Um, Kanaev, stay active, deny the takedown, and um, and let's see what Joutton Almeida has for hands in another fight, and see if he's consistent with it. Joutton Almeida, use your hands, use the takedown fakes, maybe even take him down a couple of times. But you got to incorporate those hands in order to get to your wrestling. But then once you get down there with your jujitsu, you got to do some kind of ground and pound because
Finish him.
the judges are not going to like you just holding him down.
Finish him.
And that's even if he can get this guy down. Um, so it's uh, it's not one of those areas where I think that Almeida is going to hold the clear advantage like he has on the last ones. Um, I think Almeida pulls this one out by decision. But I could just as easily see Kanaev coming away. This is a really good matchup for both fighters,
It is a great matchup. It is a great matchup.
and it does also depend. Who was Almeida looking to fight? Was he preparing for a fight? Is he coming in off the bench? If Kanaev is in shape, he was expecting to fight. He's going through it. Almeida comes in less than in shape, and I could easily see Kanaev winning this fight. In
I
fact,
think Almeida needs to finish it.
I'm gonna go with Kanaev to win this fight. I think
Okay,
I talked myself into it.
there you go.
Everything else is telling me that he gets beat in this fight. He gets controlled. He gets taken down. The other guys, fought all the competition. He's higher ranked. He's a beast. He's hard to handle because he is so strong. He is so good with
Yeah,
the takedowns. I'm gonna say the late entry gives Kanaev
an
the
advantage.
victory. Yeah, and he's got championship experience in another organization, Eagle FC. Um, so I don't think he'll shy away from the fights, but uh, I'm gonna go with Kanaev to be more active and win it on activity. And you see a slide from Almeida.
I'm gonna take Almeida by finish. I think he needs to.
Almeida
If
by
he doesn't,
finish. He does need
yeah,
to.
he needs
Yeah,
to. I think he
yeah.
understands
He
he needs
doesn't.
to. And in terms of, again, his athletic prowess, he can.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think we
all right,
agree. He's got the talent.
yeah, yeah, but he tends to be a little bit, hesitant with it. All right, 2 fights left. Not that we're gonna rush it, but we're gonna move a little bit fast on these ones. Amir Albazi, Kyoji Horiguchi. Kyoji is an interesting guy, man.
Hmm.
Second stint in the UFC, fought Mighty Mouse once upon a
Hmm.
time. Shows you how long ago that was. For a
Yep.
belt, so he has championship pedigree. Against Amir Albazi, who fun fighter, 17-2. Um, I think Kyoji's gonna be a little bit too much for Amir. Um, Too skilled, too fast. Even though there's a 3-year age gap, both guys are in their 30s, so I find that fairly negligible. Um, I think Kyoji's is gonna be the active guy in this one. I think it's 3 rounds from what I could tell.
Should be.
Um, so you give me Kyoji Haraguchi with the guessing that he has, the motor he has for 3 rounds. I think he gets the job done, man. What says you?
I think Kyoji Horiguchi comes out with the victory in this one. Um, the Albazi is coming off a loss to Brandon Moreno. That is not a bad loss. He's
It's
coming
not
off before that. It was a win over Kai Car France, which
great win.
a great win, but every not every, but a huge portion of the media outlets who score their fights had Kai Car France winning that fight. It was very much seen as a robbery that he won that fight. Um, it goes in his record as win. But Horiguchi is on his last run. He's trains with Pantoja. He's already called out Pantoja. I think they're both willing to fight each other, but Pantoja's not the one with the belt right now. I think if he wants that title shot, he wins this fight and goes after Van, and I think he really wants that title fight. So I'm going with Horiguchi in this one to win. Unanimous decision. Yeah, but yeah, I'm actually going to go 30-27 decision.
Sheesh. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's gonna outwork him. I think he's gonna outwork him. I could kind of get on board with that. I think he's fairly heavily favored in this one as well.
Mhm.
Um, the lines are close to, if I'm not mistaken, the Mario Bautista um kind of run as well, because he's minus 200 favorite, I think.
Bautista's minus 200 favorite.
Yeah, in this upcoming fight. Haraguchi might be heavier, but not to jump ahead, but we're there now.
Mhm.
Mario Bautista versus the somewhat of a psycho, as we've called him lovingly, Vinicius Oliveira.
Yeah.
What says you in this one?
You know, it's hard to make of it. Um, Oliveira has some good wins coming up, or in his past. He's beaten Ricky Simon. He beat Kyler Phillips and he beat Saeed Nurmagomedov. Those are all good opponents to have beaten. Ricky Simon, especially. Um, Bautista has fought um, Jose Aldo, which I thought he lost that fight, um, and it was a split. He fought Patchy Mix, who we now know is not as good as that, and then he fought um, Nurmagomedov, which was a 5-round decision loss where he really did get dominated in this one. Vinicius is an animal. If you've never seen him fight, go back and watch some of his fights. You punch him and he keeps coming. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what his nickname is, but the freaking Terminator is what he reminds me of. You know, you shoot him with a bullet, he keeps coming. He has no respect for the punches, for the kicks. He comes at you with his hands down and then just pieces you up. He's super fast, super strong for the division. Um, I'm gonna say he beats him with confidence. He just, I mean, it's a 5-round fight, but we'll see what kind of cardio he has. But if it's Bautista's skill against Vinicius Oliveira's skill, I know that Mario Bautista is on paper probably the favorite and skill wise probably seen as being better. But I think Vinicius Oliveira surprises people and comes out with the win. And in a hard fought fight. I don't think this is
Yeah.
an easy fight for him. I think it's going to be a hard fought fight.
Well, I agree and disagree.
Okay.
Um, if this is gonna be a Vinicius Oliveira win, I I see Vinicius get tired. I mean, he's one of those guys where he'll be tired and still go forward.
Hmm.
Because again, he kind of fights with just, I don't want to say reckless abandon, but pretty much.
Yeah, no, it is.
um,
It is.
um, I think if he's put in that position to just, he's not going to try to go 5 rounds. I'll liken it to the Sean Brady Michael Morales fight, which we seem to talk about in every pod because it was just one
Yeah.
of those types of fights, right? I could see Vinicius doing what Michael Morales did
Hmm.
to Sean Brady
Yeah.
to Bautista, because the power is there, the striking, the creative striking is there, the length
Hmm.
is there. He's heavier also, and he looks heavier in there usually by the
Yeah.
time they get in there. Um, he has all those aspects. I think if Batista fights a smart fight and drags us out to all 5 rounds, I think he wins this by decision. We go home, good night. I think if Vinicius wants to win this fight, he needs to get into those exchanges, put himself in harm's way, which he's used to doing, but be a little bit more active in the counters and a little bit more active in the striking so he could give Batista something to worry about and then
Hmm.
land something big. I could see him landing something big. Um, he's an underdog for a reason, but if he wins, and this is, again, me coming into the dabbling space, take not Michael Morales, woo, Vinicius Oliveira by finish. If you're gonna take him to win this fight, take him by finish. Um, he cannot win a 5 round fight fighting the way he fights against Mario Batista. It's just not, I think, viable for this point in his career. Too inactive, hangs back too much. Even in his pressure, he pressures
Hmm.
with his hands down, with no punches, very little punches, very little strikes landed. And the guys he fought that way are not Mario Batista. So Mario Batista will engage. He will get those shots off. Um, and if he gets more of those in a 5 round fight, he's going to get the decision win. So
Yeah. I think Batista's chance in this is to take him down and smother him.
yeah,
That
he could
that's
do that as
his
well.
that's
Yeah,
his
he could
biggest shot.
put him.
If
Yeah.
you put him against the fence, you turn that momentum that he's coming at you with and, you know, tie him up and turn him to the fence or take him to the ground and just hold him. If Vinicius is allowed to be in there standing on his feet for the majority of this fight, then I'm gonna take Oliveira in that. Um,
No,
but
I agree.
Oliveira is not a slouch in his takedown defense, so this is gonna be a tough fight for Bautista to win. Obviously, I
Minus
like the
200 was
more
a bit
exciting fighter
surprising,
in
but
this. That's kind of what I want to see, and that's Vinicius Oliveira. Um, but skill wise, I feel like the better skilled person is Bautista. But if you're going to go and make me pick who's going to win between these two fighters coming in, um, the one who seems to know how to win those fights is
Mhm.
Vinicius Oliveira. So that's why I'm gonna pick him. But we're gonna see because this is a big step up in competition.
It's huge. It's a
This
huge
is a
step up in
really
competition
big
for
step
him.
up
Yeah,
in competition. This is not a small step up for him. This is a jump. So
huge.
we're gonna see what he can do and if his style translates. And part of me thinks no, it doesn't translate, but we're about to find out. I'm gonna err
We
on the
are.
side that it does.
We are about to find out. And I'm again, if I'm playing this, which I might end up playing this, I'm taking him by finish
Okay.
because that's how he does it. If not, sometimes they'll throw in the props in there. I take Mario Batista over on takedowns, depending on what line that's set at. Um, but definitely over on significant strikes or Mario Batista to win with more significant strikes than Oliveira. There's a couple ways to play this, but I think it's a good main card leading fight. I think they did a good job with that for the first fight night on
Hmm.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Um, I'm excited to see the whole thing. Even some of the fighters I didn't mention. Um, in like high regard, I'm excited to see if they're able to bounce back. I was talking earlier about another women's fighter we're excited about, Carly Judice. That's who it is.
Hmm.
Um,
Out of
yeah,
Louisiana,
she's yeah out of Louisiana. She's a fun one who's fighting February 21st actually.
coming up.
Yep, coming up. So we have opportunities to see some good women's fighters on there. This card should be a great one. Hopefully you guys tune in. Hopefully you guys tune into the preview. And we'll be excited to come back and do the review of the fight night. They gave us a week off of fights, so maybe we'll do a what if in there too, um, to kind of fill the void. But this has been a great one. Any closing thoughts, Roger?
No, I think this is going to be a good fight night where if you're interested in seeing what the future holds, and that this is a good one because you're going to see, uh, you know, does Vinicius Oliveira translate to a higher level of competition? Is um, Kyoji going to be able to make that next step up towards the title fight? Are some of these younger fighters going to be able to take that torch from the older fighters? So
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be a good one if you want to see kind of where some of these people are going. If you're just looking for the big names and the big fights, this is probably not the one for
Not the
you.
one for you.
But if you're interested in a little more of the competition that's um, around middle of the division and even sometimes lower of the division to see what the UFC has and talent wise right there, this is a good fight. This is a good fight night.
I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it. Hopefully you guys are too. We will see you on the next one. It's time to cover it. Please like, subscribe, and share. And peace.
Later.